All right. So I know the screen's a little bit weird. I did chapter 1 of Cantha on my alt account because my alt account doesn't have any fishing hero points, nothing. Like, it's completely new, but it does have End of Dragon. So this is a new tune that I've made specifically for fishing in order to showcase how you would start fishing and how you can kind of progress until you can start making a lot of gold off fishing. At start, you'll probably make about 5 to 10 gold, and it'll move up the ranks through that. A lot of my guildmates were overwhelmed with the amount of stuff and information thrown at them at fishermen when they were just going out there to fish because there's a lot of overlaying stuff. So we're going to try and work this through at baby steps. I'm going to go from starting out as if I was a new player and then kind of working through it so that we can kind of showcase how your progression can be. I'm going to give some goals that you can work with. As you can see, I've already acquired it. The way I acquired the fishing rod is by doing chapter 1 of Cantha. And I thought about letting it play and then skipping it, but I just decided to not record that at all so that we don't have spoilers occurring. Because from here on out, we're not going to really need any of the other story to really do it outside of getting mastery points. So there will be mastery points that we will have to obtain that I will do privately. So, because like I said, you'll have to figure this out on your own. I'll make a list of what masteries I will be aiming for. So through this entire journey. But at first start, when you want to start fishing, you have to unlock the fishing rod, so you have to do chapter 1. No fishing rod, no fishing. And now we're going to go move on to do the heart mission that unlocks the boat. And then I will showcase how we move from there, okay? And like I said, we'll baby step this all the way so that it's not so overwhelming. And as you can see, we've unlocked with the fishing thing, it's unlocked a fishing rod. It shows, baits and stuff and lure equipment. And then it obviously unlocks some mastery points. All right. And this is the tune that I'm using. It's a Norn, just a new character I made. So this has now unlocked a lot of the masteries that you get. And you can see that Skift is locked, and a lot of these other things will lock too. These will become more more unlocked depending on how far you go into the map. You're only going to really need 3 sets of achievements. Which is fishing, skiff plotting, and then part of Arbor's renovations, Arbor Stones. And then as far as Jadebot is another tool you can use, but I don't really think you need masteries specifically for it. But we'll get to that first. But the first thing, one of the first masteries you should aim for is trying to fill out your fishing. Because your fishing, as you can see here, gives you different boons and gives you plus 20 to fishing power. And fishing power will decide how good and how easy you're catching fish. And it gives you more XP on top of that. So, I've told people before, proceed to open, you unlock all of these first because these are far more important than anything else you're going to get. And then I would go for the first one of Arborstone when we get to that point. And then when it comes to skiff, just start trying to fill it out. I honestly didn't fill my skiff out until after I had done fishing and Arborstone's first tier because I didn't really care about it being super fast. I had Skimmer at the time. Now, if you want it to be a little faster, obviously, as far as your boat being faster, then yeah, skiff is going to be nice. But we have our fishing that we're training right now. Now, I'm going to leave the instance. Now, I also have our guild hall for RCC is connected to Cantha's main area. So I already have a waypoint technically to where I need to be to do the first set of getting lures and baits and things. But we're going to go to the heart mission first.
Kate, Tiny, they've released the commander. Gorg, too.
Good. I look forward to telling Gorak how much of a choya brain he was for trusting Anka.
To be fair, we all agreed to the plan.
Yeah, if by agreed you mean went along with it, but told you the whole time it was a bad idea. Yeah, but you're right. We did. Still, he and I are gonna have a talk.
The commander, Aureen found herself a nice little sea cave to rest up in. She'd love for you to come by.
I hitched a ride with a local fisherman. If you don't mind answering a few nosy questions, I bet you can too.
Don't forget, you need to meet with Detective Rama as well.
Okay. We're going to ignore all these story things. And, okay. So this area here, I walked into it because this is important. As a fisherman, this is going to be an area that you're going to want to know. This particular vendor here, I believe, sells some foods and things, I think. Is it? Yes. Recipes. I later on this tune, I'll also level up cooking to max, and I'll be doing artificer because you're not required to have it maxed out, but it does save you later. But we'll talk about more of it. But these are some of the foods and other foods you can order. But this one's specifically used for fishing. The pancakes allows you to share with your friends, and then there's also, I think, a few others here that you can use as well that are kind of useful. Flight of the sushi is something I've seen people use. It just gives you a little bit of extra fishing power, and then you can share with your friends. Not a requirement though for what we're about to do. So now, if I can remember to get back how I got back up there. We're about to walk across the bridge because there is an easier way to get to the heart mission than trying to swim over there, because it is a pain in the butt to do that, and I don't actually suggest it. Because of the fact of the matter is, it's just not ideal. So, as I said, this is going to be covering all of the first set of basics, and to get myself back on train of thought. Why a lot of people choose to do fishing for gold farming versus other farms is that it doesn't require you to do any level, like super levels of like fighting things, killing things. You can spend as much time in it as you want to. Boons last a little bit longer. And it's actually really easy to get started, and it's relatively cheap to get started. It gets more expensive when you start doing certain things, but really it's not that bad. It's actually very balanced. And it is a constant gold farm because of the fact that in order to, you're fishing for ambergris, and I'll explain what those look like later in another video. Ambergris is what you're aiming for. It comes from legendary fish. It comes from pinks and exotic every now and then. And it's, alright, and this is the waypoint that I picked because it's, like I said, this is the easier one to go from. It's within walking distance of when you get to the story, because where I came out is where the story chapter ends for chapter 1. And so, you know, you won't be like within a far distance walk from it. But I picked this way because if you try to take the water paths up, and you'll see a little bit of water here, if you try to take your water paths up here to the heart, this area is covered with aether blades and a bunch of problem NPCs. It's a pain in the butt to do, especially if you're squishy. If you're squishy, I suggest you take a plunge into it. Or if you've got a friend or a guildmate who will gladly take you on their skiff up the river, then that's fine. But if not, I say take this walk. Because this walk over here has no enemies. There's an event that pops here every now and then. I went the wrong way. I need to go out one more. Go out the arch and up. But, here we go. There's the arch. But yeah, we're going uphill. This area doesn't have that many enemies, and it's, you know, pretty calm, collected. No events really to bother you too much. But yeah, the reason why fishing is so liked, other than it being relatively easy, especially if you like Stardew Valley levels of mechanics, because it's the same kind of thing, is that it's a consistent need, because everyone needs ambergris to build the legendary weapons from Cantha. And people like the ones from Cantha because of the prettiness and the fact that you can change their, you can change them to look like the other dragons. So people like them. So the Oreen set and things. So because of this, it makes it to where essentially the players who do fishing, or the fishings, is always relevant. Or as of currently is relevant. There we go. If you've got a skimmer, I do suggest a skimmer. Skimmers also work if you don't have a boat. I don't have a skimmer on this tune yet. Eventually I will. So I'll get to that later. But this is the heart mission over here that you need. And as I said, because of it being a legendary crafting material, oftentimes it is very useful for the point of people needing to use it all the time. So it becomes a very good form of like farm. It's a necessity. Okay, so here is the NPC. She'll ask us to help her, and we can. Now, I can't remember if you can borrow this boat. I think you can. When you first start, you can fix it. Ooh, we can fix the boat. I didn't remember this. That's nice. This X. Oh, did it not take it? Okay, fine. I didn't remember this being a part of it. That's cool. Nice. Awesome. So this is the skiff. As you've noticed, it doesn't have any special stuff going on. This is the anchor that puts it down. And the heart machine, you can kill a bunch of the aether things. I don't suggest it. They're really annoying. I think, honestly, catching fish is far more fun than trying to deal with their bullcrap or breaking the debris. But it is faster to kill the ads, I'm not going to lie. So if you want it done quickly, then fine. I'm going to try and finish this heart out, and then we can unlock the skiff. So give me a moment. But first, we're going to show how fishing works. Now, you have the skills here. This will be how you can get your skiff out and your fishing stuff. And this one also, as a default, has a J as its default. I will end up changing mine eventually. But you'll see that it has the cast line. You'll have your tackle. I'm going to open the tackle and show you what you're looking at. Now, if you'll notice right away, you have this is your crappiest fishing rod you'll have in the game. Don't worry, it still works. You're still going to get the things you need. It's not going to be an issue. All right, this is your bait. You've noticed that you don't got bait. For this, you don't need bait. Some fish you don't actually need bait for, and that is another tactic that fishermen can use. So there's that. Now, no matter what fish you buy or get, though, you always need a lure, because other than the fact that the lure is very useful, it adds 50 power. And I'm not sure if it will actually let you catch one without lures on, but it's also, you don't want to lose that 50 plus fishing. And you've noticed right now you only have a 75 power. The goal is to get to 80 to 825 as you're fishing, give or take 800. Don't worry, don't panic. It'll level up, because this increases with the type of gear and fish and bait you use, and with the masteries that you're using. So with these masteries leveling up, you'll get more stuff to it, and it will also level up with how many fish are on your deck. Now I'm going to show how the fishing works, because this is a very important mechanic. This will basically is your hook and sink. You pull your one to pull it in once you get a bite. There will be a sound to showcase that you are catching one. There will be a red exclamation point. So even if you are fishing without the audio on, you'll still be able to know you got a fish on the line. Now, each pool has 3 fish that can be caught. And if you notice, right now, the hook's green. The hook can be green, yellow, and red. Depending on if it's green, yellow, or red, depends on the difficulty of the fishing. The more, the better your bait, the better your rod, the better bait, and the better higher you are in fishing, the easier it is to catch fish without foods. Now, this is obviously a heart, so you don't have to worry about that, because they're just trying to train you on how to do it. Each pool has 3 fish to it. So if you lose a fish, for instance, say I'm gonna lose one intentionally just to showcase what it looks like, because you'll see the little orange bar go down that tells you that you're losing it, and you have that amount of time to try and make it work before it goes away. Similar to Stardew Valley, and if you do, you'll get a red indication. You've lost a pool thing, so this pool now only should have 1 fish in it theoretically. Now, these ones being a mission or a heart one, I'm not sure if it'll actually dissipate, but it will disappear at some point. If it were a normal pool, we'll see for sure. But each pool has, about 3 charges to them, and they respawn after a period of time. And it's not after like a reset or a 24-hour period. A lot of people think that fishing is fun, and it takes you, and once it's done, right? Because most nodes work that way. But fishing nodes don't work that way, or fishing pools don't work that way. They regenerate. Now, obviously, this one's an event one, so they stay up permanently during the mission stuff. But, or at least for the most part, they have more charges to them to give you a chance to kind of warm it up. But they will respawn. So what fishermen often do with the pools, because they do recharge, is they'll fish the spot, move a little bit to the next pool, fish there, and they make a giant loop around the map, wherever the fishing pools are, and then they come back around. Right? And then, voila, see? The pool disappeared, no longer around. They probably made it to where you have to successfully get 3 in order for that. Now, when you are trying to begin the boat, here's the thing too. If you have a guest on the boat and you sit down as the captain, it will pull the other person down. So be mindful that if you're fishing with your friends, that they sit down. If you are the guest on the boat, sit down first when you're done fishing in order to let the captain know you're ready to go. And the captain will always end up being the last one to sit down. And that's kind of the simple, it's kind of like an etiquette thing. It just makes it easier for people to know they're ready to go, and it doesn't require you to say, oh, ready all the time. Because fishing gets faster as you go along, and with your fishing power getting stronger, it gets a lot faster. Now, as I was about to say, there was one more thing I was going to say. Oh yeah, the hook being green, yellow, and red. Sometimes when you're catching some of the more hard to catch fish, legendaries, they go red. But as I said, gear can change that. Baits can change that. Lures can change that because baits and lures add fishing power to your full amount. But it also foods can help you as well. Oftentimes, the fishing food for this is really just white sushi, and you can buy it off the post for real cheap. I'll buy some in a little bit to showcase the situation. This is also why I said if you want to save yourself some more money along the way, I say also level up your cooking or chefing and artificer, because those two things are going to give you a lot of benefits if you do them. One, because chefing is always very important, but also because then you can cook your own fish, and that fish is really important for it. You'll also notice that there are other sushi. This is the one you need. It has a 30-minute duration and an 18 plus magic find. And the magic find is important, but mostly it's that fishing power. It's 150 fishing power, and it lasts for 30 minutes, right? And most people just get a few of them, they craft them, and they buy them. But there's also other sushi you can get. Let me see if it'll pop them up if I type in sushi, because there is when the game first came, like the expansion first came out, people weren't sure. They weren't quite sure which one to work with, because most of these magic finds on all of these different tiers are about the same. The difference is the level of magic find on them. And so there is a benefit there. But profit-wise, your best bet is to stay here with the whitefish, because your magic find will get better as you level up your stuff. It's also just more cost-effective. I personally like to share Ascended Food on my other account, which has max chefing. But I will say this, as I said, if you want to take this fishing stuff seriously as a gold farm, I say level your crafting up for your cook. And you don't have to level it all at once. Just do it slowly and whatnot. And same thing with your artificer, because if you can level up artificer, you can make primers. And if you level up your cooking, you can make your own cooking food. And you can end up making some other added stuff that I'll get into for advanced stuff. But first, I'm going to finish this heart, get the skiff unlocked, and then we'll come back for some more information involving specifically bait. Alright, I am back. I have done the heart mission now. As you can see, I just finished it. Now that we have the skiff unlocked ourselves, or the heart itself to do it, there is another thing I'm going to show you. You'll notice that as long as you're on the boat, it doesn't seem anything unusual. But if you step off the boat, you get this little signal. If you stay off your boat this long, you'll lose all of your fishing stacks that you obtain while you're on the boat. And that can be an issue because your stacks matter. You hear fishermen say 99 stack. That's why it's important. If you stay off this, it'll go away. Your food doesn't go away, and your utilities will not go away, or primers, but it gets rid of your fishing stack, which makes it to where you're not going to catch the stuff you need. Now, let's see. I believe it is this. Yep, there it is. You go up to this NPC and you buy it. Now, as you can see, I have it, and I have unlocked, I think it's unlocked now. Yep, it's right there. And you'll see it's unlocked. Now, that also means that we've unlocked the mastery. It's been a long time since I did it. And you'll notice that this is the masteries for it. Now, there's not as many masteries for it as, say, the fishing, and it's not necessarily important. The only thing that's kind of cool is the fishing party one. But, it's not as important compared to your fishing. I've said to people, do this one first, get it all the way done. This matters the most. This is going to affect your profit the most, right? This right here, just kind of like some perks. This one is a full throttle. It adds a speed to your skiff, and it makes your skiff's life a little bit better. Because it's similar to being on a mount. If you take damage from things on the boat, it will knock you off, and then you will lose your boat, and you'll have to wait till you're out of combat or kill whatever's attacking you, and then get back on your boat. This is a deep charge. Essentially, it's a bomb that you can drop on an enemy. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it does do a lot of bar breaking and stun stuff. This skill is actually used in a meta that involves fighting leviathans, which also gives you chunks of ambergris, which also is cool. But people will use it to try and break down the leviathans outer shell. And this one's also just another speed boost. This one is it gives you I believe another speed boost as well. Yeah, it gives you another speed boost. It's a short burst, which means this is a jettison. This is different than just being a little faster. You're able to accelerate, and it pushes the boat forward. And it's kind of like just having a little bit of a jet ski for a little bit. This one is a fishing stack that allows you and your party and a squad to receive the same amount of fishing based on your total number of catches by fishing. Meaning, if you have guests on your boat and you guys are fishing together, then the stacks add together. So if your friend catches 3 and you catch 3, you both get 6, which makes it to where you're saving time. This used to be really useful at the beginning when the meta started, when First Adventure Dragon came out, because of the fact that used to be the only way to build it was by actually doing the fishing. You had to fish several pools, and each pool is about 3 fishings, give or take, and then you would build it up and get to 99 stacks, and then you'd have max stacks, which means you catch the best stuff when you're fishing. Not all the time, but you have a higher chance of it. Increases your possibility. But since now that there's Zephyrite Jerky and squads can share anyways, it's not too big a deal, right? Most people who are, commanders that are doing fishing stuff have this, so all you have to do is get on their fish or their boat and get the credit. Now, I'll get into more of how to kind of work without this until you have the masteries for it. But the other thing I was about to say about fishing with the boat, like I said, you'll notice that the boat has a health, and the boat's health is really bad at first. And it gets better, but you'll notice things like to try and attack you. Earlier, I was being attacked by some jellyfish. You can see that's a relatively slow mount compared to, like, the skimmer. It's still good, though. But you'll see, like, sometimes certain things like jellyfish and drake will attack the boat. And I'm going to see if it isn't doing any damage, but you'll see a yellow bar damage it. But some things like this, it will stop attacking when you are stopped. But drakes have a habit of kind of glitching through it, and they'll start damaging your skiff. I have noticed that if you stand on the back of your fin right here, and it will take a little time to get used to it, sometimes because you're a little higher away from the drake, they go off. The distance is, enough to discourage them from coming in and attacking you. But honestly, it only works normally with animals. It doesn't necessarily work real great with, like, for instance, the enemies, the Aether Blades over here. This is also, we're going to walk this way, and I'm going to showcase why I said not to go through the water unless you had a skimmer or a skiff already. There is just too many things in the water. There's too many, enemies on the sides of the roads to try and deal with. Also, you'll notice that when other players have their boats, you will not hit their boats so long as you guys are not in the same party. If you guys are in the same party, your guys' boats become solid objects for each other, which means you can play bumper cars, or you can jump from your boat to theirs and vice versa. So if you happen to be in the boat on the water and you see another fisherman that isn't a party member with you, don't freak out. You're just going to phase right through them. Normally, fishermen still avoid each other just because, like, they'll swerve out of the way, just as a courtesy thing, but also it's a little bit more jarring to try and move it. This thing isn't like a Skyscale or a Raptor. It doesn't have a really great level of control. It's basically just like it turns very slowly. That's the fastest way it can turn. It's not bad, but it's definitely not an agile piece of equipment. Now, you probably notice that we're going a long ways away, but this is because this map only has 4 waypoints, and the one thing we're going to is a heart that doesn't have waypoints. And the closest waypoint is, well, these 2, and that kind of thing. But also another thing, too, is other than pools, you can also fish in open water. In open water, as you can see, you can fish anywhere. There's certain fish that only spawn in pools, and there's several different types of pools that exist in Guild Wars 2. And so there's also ones you can just catch anywhere in open water. So if you end up like sitting there and you just want to fish one pool, you technically can. There are players who will camp one pool and they just catch wild fish, and then when nighttime or dusk or morning or whatever time they want to fish, they'll just start fishing. And yes, time will matter when you're doing fishing. I will go more into it when we start actually doing some achievements for it, but for right now, just understand that daytime does matter when you're trying to catch a particular fish. And we're heading over here to this particular heart. It is on this side of the map. It is over here. Now, I have a waypoint here because I have the guild. Having the guild has an access to a waypoint over here. It's I believe it's the Isles that we have as a guild hall. So I can actually go into my guild hall and go here, but I wanted to drive over here to showcase what you can do to kind of safely get over here. And yes, there is a bit of a glitch right now with the boat disappearing. It's not a big deal. Now, here's the thing about this particular waypoint. And you can beach the boats too. They don't stay if you keep them beached, and they will disappear eventually if you leave them for too long. Don't panic too much. But this individual, this is Lynn, she's going to be probably your first fishing NPC that you come across, theoretically, if you stay in Cantha, assuming you're following through story and stuff. This heart mission here is also really important to get done because he also has stuff. But I'm going to explain something involving bait and lures. Now, you'll notice that this lure is a wooden lure versus like you can compare the lure you're using and lures that exist. You'll also notice antique lures. Now, you can choose to buy these ones, but personally with the first, when you're just trying to get it going, like the leveling and stuff, I'd personally just keep with wooden lures until you have your masteries a little higher. Currently, I have only one mastery, so about right here, maybe around the third tier, I'll go to antique lures. But what you can do, if you are a little bit harsh on coins, but you want to kind of up your chances, you can also buy one of these and then buy just a stack or two of the antique lures, just so you have them, and then you can up your ante on a little bit. Because you can see there's like a 15-point difference, or 25-point difference, sorry, but not necessarily anything crazy. Now, this is a skin for it, just so it's a clarification. I had some guild members who thought that this was a rod that you could get. It's just a skin for it. It's okay. It's pretty. It's just not... It's not necessary. If you don't like it, you don't have to have it. But you'll notice that there is sardines, there's jars of sardines, there's a shrimp and shrimp of sardines. Now, the difference between them is this gives you a bundle of 25, and this just gives you 1. Now, what I've always told people is that technically buying the jars is probably a bit more fuel efficient, and it stores better because, you know, you may not need, you're not going to need too much. Now, but this NPC is probably going to be your first one, and probably the first one I'm going to cover because she has sardine and shrimp, which is probably the only bait you're going to need for SETI. And now I'm going to look at the achievements. I'm going to show you the 2 achievements that we're going to aim to do. So, first off, we are going to see if Cod is here. This one right here. Cod's amongst mere minnows. I'm going to put this on my list of viewings because this right here is going to give you so many more options on how to do this, right? It gives you a nice little checklist. You get a title out of it, and not to mention you get some points for it. You also get a chance to really experiment with it, and I believe it unlocks an NPC that will get you a better fishing rod, if I remember correctly. So we will end up going through each of these one by one. And I'll make separate videos on each of them to do it. But since we're in the area of SETI, this is SETI's fishing thing. This right here tells you all you need to know. Now, the thing about this is that if you hover your mouse over these, you can see how it says that this is a globfish, or globefish specifically, sorry, not globfish, globefish. It is found in the waters of SETI, so it's on this map only. It is found in either open water or none, meaning you can fish for it just out in the open. And it's not in any fishing hole. And it says favorite bait, it doesn't have any. And time of day, it can be caught at any time of the day, which means you literally just have to throw your line outside the boat, catch it, and once you catch a thing, then you can continue on. And you'll notice that each of them have different settings. Some of these you'll catch just as you're in pools. I'm trying to see if I can find one. This one, for instance, is a green sawfish. It will be caught in offshore fishing holes, but it doesn't matter what bait or daytime. So you might be like, okay, well, a lot of these don't seem to care about what the bait is. Why does bait matter? Bait doesn't matter for most of the little ones. Where it matters is legendaries, ascended, and exotic. This is for example, this is an ascended. It's pink. It requires offshore fishing and sardines, and it needs to be nighttime when it's going on. Now, you can see right down here where it says daytime on my basic default. There's also and I'll link it in the description below, about the world timer. And you can see where, like, they like how daytime starts and when daytime ends. I think it shows daytime in Tyria and daytime in Seti and a few of the expansions. And yes, it does matter. Nighttime happens a little bit more often, I think, in Cantha versus as when it's in Kryta and stuff, or like in the main core Tyria thing. So, I will, like I said, I'll put a link in there for the day cycle. Now, that being said, they're also like legendaries. And this was a daytime one. It can only be caught in daytime, requires shrimp and offshore fish. So these are really important. Some of them require specific things, and you'll just hover over them. I've told people before, look through it and just find the baits. Normally, it's like 1 or 2 types of bait that they need. And they're having an event here that happens.
You get smoother instead of wrinkling.
Okay. I'm trying to back away from the event but anyways, so the most of those achievements will have like the like 2 types of baits, right? But there are a few of them that have 3. So don't be too alarmed if you come across a map that has 3. But I tell people to go through and look for all the baits. Ignore the pools, look for your baits, see what your baits are, and then you can buy a bunch. Now, like I said, Seti will probably be the first one I do. I'm not going to buy a bait right now. That's not important. We're going to focus strictly on the bases and stuff and talking to individual people. I've always told people to do this heart first because he does have some like cosmetics for fishing, and I can't remember if he has bait or not, but I will deal with that in a little bit. We'll do his heart as well and just unlock it so we have it. But it's something for later. Now, one thing you're going to notice is that after that with cod right now, they're just called fisher. After you complete 1 tier of these, you'll end up putting in avid fisher. As you see, they're all locked. You have to finish catching all of the ones in the regions. Afterwards, you will end up being able to continuously, infinitely fish an area, right? And do the same fisheries. This is really important. I've told people before that when you are trying to make gold, just keep doing the if you're fishing in an area, follow the regional banner. The first time you ever fish this, right, you're gonna get 6 of these ancient ambergris, right? Now, save these for later. As we go along, we're gonna save them in our inventories, and then I'll showcase how to sell them properly. But for right now, this is just the reward we're getting. After you beat it once, you won't get ambergris every single time. Be super OP. But you'll get another set of achievements called Avid, which is what I was just showing here. And in Avid, it's obviously locked right now. You can't see it. It's the same fishing roster. If you complete it, though, you get a legendary bag of fish. What it means is you get, I think you get like an ambergris to it, but you also get some rare fish fillets. So a lot of fishermen will follow through with them for these avid achievements when they're in an area, in the meta fishing area, because it's easier to follow and it gives you a goal, and it also helps you manage your bait. So it's very important to kind of learn how to use your, what kind of area you're working with. So cod's probably going to be one you come back to a lot just to look at, just to make sure you're in that area. So if you're in Ascalonia and stuff, right? You'll be able to do that. About 90%, and here's the thing, people's like, oh, that's a lot, right? 90% of these pools here, you're only going to end up fishing every once in a while, because currently the meta fishing for fishing for the most profit is this right here. This is the desert fishery. It is the one that everybody uses. There are 2 maps that are used for it. One is in the Crystal Desert itself, and then one is the Domain of Cormyr. Sorry, took a little bit of work to get out. I don't have the Cormyr right now on this character. I will get it, but eventually we'll go that way, and I'll show you how this fisher works. Because you can buy it with Living World 4, and you can do it for with gems. So we will be working through swimming cod. We'll be working through that, getting the gold, and using it to turn to gems, and then buying expansion parts. This way, you can kind of see the importance of how your gold can actually help you when you want to get little extra things. If you're hurting on money, or if you just don't want to have to pay extra money for things to help build your farm. right? We'll work on like doing this whole situation. But yeah, so this is the first part of it. We've covered how to get your boat, how to get your rod, how important bait and lures are, and how your fishing route sucks right now, but it'll get better. We've covered about how it's important for time, like at what time you actually do these fishing to catch these fish. We will move to the second part of this, where I will explain even more. But for right now, we will cut it here.